Shayla. All right, let's move on, but let's stick with football. Cam Newton seems ready to go for Sunday's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. Despite off-season shoulder surgery and despite barely practicing all training camp, Cam only played in one preseason game, throwing 2 passes, but one of those passes was a TD. However, Ron Rivera believes Newton will be good to go for Week 1. Take a listen.
Well, I think he's ready. I do. I mean, you wish he had a few more snaps and played a little bit earlier in the preseason, so we'd have more to gauge on. But what we saw, we really liked. We liked how everything seems to be meshing well together as an offense, and we'll see how it goes as we continue to work this week.
As we move forward with the show, you're going to get to know which subjects some of our talent likes the most. This is one of your top 3 or 4 favorite topics, I would say. Nick, can Cam Newton return to his MVP form this season? Hold on.
I mean, he won't win the MVP, but of course he can return to MVP form. It's amazing to me how short our memories have gotten. Like, I get that people maybe are a little confused about the exact details of, like, the Civil War or World War II, but, like, Cam Newton's only been in the league 6 years. Can we just go over Cam's career progression quickly? So he comes into the league for a team that had the #1 pick, so they were really, really bad. They go 6-10. The next year, they go 7-9. Since then, year 3, 12-4, a bye in the first round of the playoffs. The next year, they win their division. They win a playoff game. The next year, 15-1, darn near unanimous league MVP, one of the 7 best regular seasons in league history. Then what happened then? Last year? I don't get it. He's 6-10. He's throwing 3rd most interceptable passes in football. What happened? He was hurt. That's what happened. Hence the off-season shoulder surgery. The idea that Cam Newton's career wasn't just ticking upwards and then took a step back because of an injury, the facts only support that notion.
The question is, will he be healed? Do you think he'll be healed 100% to give you the Cam Newton of 2 years ago or the Cam Newton of last year?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a hell of a lot closer to the Cam Newton of two years ago. 2 years ago might be the best it gets, but I guarantee you last year is the worst it'll get and we'll be much closer to.
This is what I'll be watching for, because I don't want to see the Cam Newton of 2 years ago. All right? And the reason why, because I don't want to see Cam running the ball as much as he did 2 years ago. The reason why you go out and you spend high draft picks on Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuels. You know the reason why? To teach Cam to distribute the football. So what I want to see on the stat sheet on Mondays or on Tuesdays after they play is how many rush attempts did he have? And subsequently, how many other touches did these other guys have? Because for me, if Cam is ever going to be MVP again, it's going to be because he utilizes the talent around him, and he only runs when he's forced to run or able to catch the defense off guard as far as the zone read, because that is a special aspect of his game, but I just want to see less of it.
You're sneaky. And I saw it. I saw the sneakiness, right? He gave me the record for his first year, the record for his second year. And then he said in 2014,
they won the division and won a playoff game.
7-8.
But they won a playoff game.
Okay, all right. But you're sneaky, and I appreciate that about you. Yeah, that was like where's the P? Where's the P? Where is it?
All right, you gotta stop looking at my notes, bro. You already copied my marker. Now you're looking at my notes.
All right, so here's the deal. The reason he won't return to MVP form, he had 45 touchdowns in 2015. They were 15-1, 35 passing touchdowns, phenomenal, but 10 rushing touchdowns. And those rushing touchdowns, he averaged 8.2 carries per game. Unsustainable. His MVP form has to do with his athleticism, his ability to run, their ability to set up play action off of that and create some easy throws, some big-time kind of touchdown trick plays. That's what they were able to do. I'm with Chris. I just don't believe that he's going to be efficient enough in the pocket distributing the football to reach MVP status. Could he still be good? Absolutely. The guy's phenomenal. But he has to learn to play from the pocket. The problem with great athletes, the quarterback position. And Cam Newton's been the best athlete since birth.
Every room he's walked into, he's
the best athlete. The problem with
the best athlete we've had at quarterback since another one of our guests, Michael Vick, comes on.
Right. So he is a guy, and the issue that you'll get into, Michael Vick included, Cam Newton, is when you're a great athlete that's been trained to play quarterback, your default mechanism is athleticism. When things break down, you turn into the athlete because you know it's something that's been there your entire life. When great quarterbacks, when guys who aren't the great athletes but have been trained to be great quarterbacks, when things break down, you know what they rely on? They rely on the neck up. The great athletes rely on the neck down. And that's the problem. That's an unsustainable form of offense, and you're going to get injured doing it.
Here's the problem with calling it unsustainable, because I totally understand that the entirety of league history is on your side. The entirety of league history says you cannot be a long-term successful quarterback in this league if you run that much. The problem with that analysis is the entirety of league history has never had a physical specimen quite like Cam playing quarterback. You're right. We're going to have Mike Vick on later. I loved watching Mike Vick, one of the most exciting players ever and the single greatest video game, 2004 Madden. Look it up. Unstoppable Mike Vick. But Mike Vick is your size, CC.
Yes.
He's thick, but he's not 6'6".
No.
He's not 245. The idea, there is no point of comparison for Cam.
So Cam Newton wasn't hurt last year? He didn't get hurt last year?
He did get hurt last year.
Oh, so you can be 6'6", 250 and get hurt.
But of course you can. But I'm not saying the guy's indestructible. But also, the shoulder injury, that's an injury he suffered on a hit while throwing the ball.
Nick,
it wasn't an injury he suffered while being a running back.
Anytime you can have a guy leave the pocket, the chances of him getting hurt are far greater than him trying to stay in the pocket and build around him.
Yeah,
far greater.
Sure.
Despite how big and tall and muscular you are.
Yes, his chances.
Remember, you went to the gym yesterday?
No, I walked by a
gym.
I'm
sorry, you walked by the gym
yesterday.
Sorry, you walked by the gym.
What I got to do there?
Sorry.
Nothing for me in there. And so, but go ahead, Cece.
I came into the league with two guys who were pretty special. One by the name of Bo Jackson. Mm-hmm. We had never seen that before.
Right.
How long did that last? There was another guy, Brian Bosworth. How long did that last?
Yeah, not very long.
So I've seen some of these anomalies, unicorns, but they don't last very long. Now, Cam, he is off to a good start. The thing about this game is you have to adjust to what people are going to take away. And that will determine how good Cam Newton's career will be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go.
Can I bring up another unicorn, though? Because I remember hearing not about the injuries, but about whether or not the approach was long-term sustainable. I remember hearing that with Randy Moss. People were like, oh, he's going to play when he wants to play.
They hadn't talked to me.
Okay, fair enough. I know how highly you think of Randy. And I remember watching Randy and thinking, guys, you can't compare. This guy, there's never been anyone like him. Never. There's never been this physical talent at that position, so maybe his approach wouldn't work for every other wide receiver ever. But I bet you it can work for him. Now, maybe you can argue Randy didn't get everything out of his ability, but he got enough to be Chris is here. Right. So the third best wide receiver ever. If Chris wasn't here, he might say second, but it doesn't matter. I look at Cam similarly.
What you don't read into that is the football acumen, the intelligence. You know, when you talk about
You
Randy
heard what
Moss,
Belichick said about Moss.
He's one of the smartest players he's ever been around. And when you watch him on film, and I've talked to a bunch of DBs about this, I said, what is it about him? And it's like when you watch him on film, it gives you this false sense of security because it's effortless. And you're like, I can run with that dude because he's just like it looks like he's lollygagging, right? We got lollygaggers. And then all of a sudden you get on the field with him and he lollygags by you by 3 yards and you're stacked and you're like, oh my Lord, right? And you can't catch
between
him.
Randy Moss and Cam Newton was Randy was a sponge. And after every season, Randy looked me right in the eye and said, oh man, that wasn't the part I liked. How can I get better? And I would give him a list of things and we would go through that offseason trying to get great at the things that he didn't do well.
All right, we'll leave it there. Coming up, can the Pittsburgh Steelers challenge